News 3 is taking action to help you win the school year. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Larche. We are helping families across Hampton Roads with everything you need to know for a happy, healthy, and safe start to the school year. We begin with that back to school anxiety. Heading to class isn't always easy. And for those heading into a new building or starting school for the first time, this is a big change. Virginia Beach psychologist Rick Ellis says for kids, especially in this area in the military, a lot of them are starting in new schools. He encourages parents to get their kids excited about the classroom. He also suggests taking them to the school grounds before the big day so they can get used to their new surroundings.
It's important for parents to try to make those kind of arrangements to make sure they're there and they get to meet the teacher, whether it's formal, a part of a program through the school, or whether they do it informally. The more a child is familiar with the physical environment and what's going on, the more comfortable and safe and secure they're going to feel.
Dr. Ellis wants to remind parents that school counselors are also a great resource to help. And if it seems the anxiety is not letting up, he says it may not be a bad idea to visit a psychologist. Well, as the kids head back to class, we're looking at some apps that can help your family this school year. They cover everything from lunch boxes to homework. Rich DeMuro explains in our Back to School Tech Smart.
End of summer means back to school. Download these apps to get to the head of the class. Hone those math skills with jump numbers. The game helps little ones practice multiplication by counting to help save cute creatures called snortles. Snort. It's a ton of fun and they'll forget their learning. $3. You know TED Talks, but TED Ed Student Talks teach lessons on everything from literature to science.
It all depends on whether we can harness the strange physics of matter.
The free-to-watch videos are animated and encourage learners to take things further with additional resources like a quiz on what you just saw. Packing lunches can get tedious, which is why an app called Lala Lunchbox wants to help. Set up your kids with a customized creature to represent their lunchbox, then start adding items like fruits, veggies, protein, and snacks. Get inspiration from add-on bundles that cost $2 each. When you're finished building, everything you need shows up in a weekly grocery list. Study Blue features crowdsourced flashcards on just about any subject you can think of, and many of them are specific to classes at schools nationwide. After a study session, take a pop quiz to help you prep for tests. You can also search for answers to questions that show up in study materials. Speaking of homework, Google can help in the snap of an app. Socratic uses image recognition to help you find answers to questions, including written and math problems. It's basically a way to search for homework help using Google in a unique way, and the results can be impressive.
Well, this is a problem in schools across the country, bullying. One study suggests 1 in 4 students in America have been bullied. Now parents are being called on to help. While most schools have a zero tolerance policy, putting a stop to bullying starts at home. The first step is talking to your child, and if bullying is suspected, doctors say parents need to go to the school.
You can start the conversation by saying something like, hey, I know there's a lot of kids who say mean things to other kids. Do you ever experience anything like that? Has that ever happened to you? And therefore, you're not making it so that they have to come out with them themselves. You're making it something that happens, and then they can respond to that.
Doctors also say parents should be role models and watch what they say around their children. Teaching a child to be kind, how to resolve conflict, and how to have relationships are also good ways to battle bullying. Well, there is a new cartoon aimed at teaching your kids on how to spot bullies and predators online. It's called Into the Cloud. Take a listen.
But are you sure they're friends? People aren't always honest about who they really are online.
What do you mean?
Well, if someone wanted to trick you, they could pretty easily look at your feed and learn a lot about you.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children launched the free animated series this summer just in time for the new school year. Each episode focuses on different elements of online safety, from cyberbullying to child predators. And there are free online lesson plans for parents and teachers to really drive the message home. Child advocate for the National Center, Callahan Walsh, says prevention is key.
We wanted to create resources that were easy for kids to pick up easy for them to learn these messages and understand them. And so creating an animated series to make it look like, a regular cartoon they'd be watching any Saturday morning is kind of like sticking the vitamins in the junk food, if you will. But it's a great way to engage children and educate them at the same time.
The Walsh name probably sounds familiar. Callahan Walsh's brother Adam was kidnapped and murdered in 1981. Their father John Walsh helped create the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The family has dedicated their lives to keep kids safe.
I watched my parents channel their anger and their emotions over my brother's kidnapping. My brother Adam went missing in 1981 to make sure that Adam didn't die in vain. I was always told if Adam's song is to continue, then we must do the singing.
Walsh says his family wants to keep others from experiencing that pain, and he says keeping kids educated is a start. We have links up to those free resources right now at WTKR.com. Well, parents, you need to hear this before the school starts. We could be overloading our kids. School social workers say they're seeing burnout at younger ages. Many students feel pressure to excel inside and outside the classroom. But Leslie Carr, coordinator of social work for one school system, says all that pressure makes kids miss their childhood. She warns children's brains are still developing and overloading them could be harmful in the long run. Well, Carr says to watch out for warning signs like this. They include being anxious and worried, being stressed, feeling sad, and not wanting to do things they normally would. When you see those signs, she says you should listen. Hear what your children have to say, and if it becomes too much, it's time to make a change.
So we don't want to just do a couple of practices and then quit everything. We want to teach them the commitment. But when kids say this is miserable, we should listen to them.
Now, Carr says it is okay if kids are not the best at everything. She suggests focusing on their special talents and skills. It will reduce what's on their plate and help them excel at what they really enjoy. You also don't want to overload their backpacks. The weight of a backpack can actually cause your child pain. Doctors say they typically see more young patients at the start of the school year because of the overloaded backpacks. The first thing you can do to help, make sure your child is wearing both straps.
If he even starts walking, this is going to fall off. And in order to prevent it from falling off, he's going to have to lean a lot to his left to sort of hold that in place. And so that's why it's so important that you have both straps on. Let me see your arm, buddy. Good. And then he's evenly weighted again.
How the bag is packed can also cause pain. Doctors say children should carry no more than 10 to 20% of their body weight. Heavy things like books should be placed closest to the back. Now, if your child does develop back pain, have them rest, take a day or two off of physical activity, get them to stretch. If the pain persists over a period of weeks, it's time to see the doctor. And here's a heads up for a big problem among middle and high school students. The CDC says there have been nearly 200 cases of a severe lung illness across the country, potentially caused by vaping. Cases were reported in 22 states, including here in Virginia and North Carolina. News 3 medical expert Dr. Ryan Light weighed in.
What you get is a cough, shortness of breath, and some fatigue. Sometimes you can get a headache, fevers, nausea, even diarrhea from it. The bad part about this disease is that it's requiring hospitalization.
Virginia health officials say e-cigarettes are the most popular form of tobacco among preteens and teenagers. Many people say quitting vaping is harder than quitting regular cigarettes.
You know, if you got a 5th grader going to 6th grade, make sure you're getting to them early to say, this is not safe, this can be dangerous or deadly, so make sure you're having that discussion. And even if you have a teen that's a little bit older, make sure that you're educating them that this is not a wise idea and that you should avoid it at all costs.
And another important note, vaping is illegal under the age of 21 in Virginia. Here's another warning as kids return to school from summer break. They could be bringing something a little extra with them. Lice. Under the right conditions, lice is pretty easy to get. If your hair touches another person's hair and they have lice, you can get it. And if your hair touches a surface like a desk after someone with lice sits there, you can get it. So anyone with long hair, experts advise them to keep it up. We got some advice from local lice treatment center. They say lice like clean hair, so feel free to let it go a day or two without washing. They urge parents to check every week for bugs and eggs that can get caught in the hair. If you find lice on one person, check everyone in the house.
They will use the treatment solution that they've bought over the counter, but they won't do the combing. And so that's not going to get rid of it. It takes both. It takes combing and treatment solution. You have to be very vigilant for about 2 weeks if you want to do it yourself.
Well, if you don't want to do it yourself, you can always check with a local lice expert. Well, with the kids heading back to class, that means school buses are hitting the streets again. So now is the time to think about your driving habits while sharing the road with school buses. Remember, when that stop sign is out, you cannot go around the bus, even if you're several lanes away. The only exception is if there's a median in the road. Kids are quick and sometimes they do not look before crossing the street. So remember, you are taking precautions in case other people make mistakes too.
That first week after Labor Day is really busy, and we have new bus drivers, we have kids who are new at this, there are new routes. You got to pack your patience when you get ready to leave for work those days.
Now, for those of you who have kids taking school buses, check to see if your district uses an app where you can track the buses. Newport News, Suffolk, and Virginia Beach have apps that parents can use. Portsmouth is planning to roll out one soon. Well, thank you for joining us as we take action to help you win the school year. I'm Jessica Larche. Be sure to join me and the entire News 3 This Morning family every weekday morning starting at 4:30 a.m.